Okay, my video got cut off. Sorry about that. So all these challenges that we were facing as a country um, were hard and brought on the Great Depression, um, and that kind of kicked off the Great Depression in October of 1929. Um, and I'm just going to read here. It says on page 230, a depression is a time of low production and few job opportunities. This time period, the Great Depression, lasted about 10 years, if you can imagine that. That's pretty rough. I'm just going to read on page 231. So you can read along with me or you can just listen. But I'm just going to read right from the page. Before the Great Depression, businesses had financial troubles because of overproduction. Many people were borrowing too much money. People had been buying and selling stocks or shares of ownership of companies from a place called the stock market. Stock prices suddenly fell. Stocks became worth less money. This event became known as the stock market crash. People and businesses that had borrowed money could not pay back their loans. They lost their homes, farms, and businesses as a result. Some banks closed, so people could not get their own money back from them. So if you can imagine that, you putting the money that you earn, if you have a job, getting your paycheck and putting that money where you think it's safe in a bank, and then the banks just close with your money in it, and there's no getting that money back. To find work, more Mississippians left the state again and headed north. Many were African Americans. The movement of thousands of African Americans from the South in the early 1900s and through the Great Depression was known as the Great Migration. To help the country, President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1933 began a group of programs called the New Deal. Some of these programs gave people jobs constructing buildings and bridges. One program helped many Mississippi farmers get electricity for the first time. Some of these programs that he developed, we still have today, so that's pretty cool. In 1936, Governor Hugh White began a program to bring new industries to Mississippi. White believed that new industries would bring new jobs. And this is the last page of chapter 9. Mississippians help in World War II. So this is a brand new war. So we're already in some economic trouble, not only from World War I, but also the Great Mississippi Flood that happened, this big Great Depression, and all this. So we're in big trouble. And then guess what happens next? World War II. So in 1939, Germany invaded Poland. Britain and France then declared war on Germany, and World War II in Europe began. In 1940, Italy and Japan joined the war on the side of Germany. When Japan attacked a U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii on December 7, 1941, the United States joined the war on the side of Britain and France. So we were not involved in this war. However, I think you guys are familiar with that event that happened in Pearl Harbor. We talked about it in December on that day, or if we weren't in school that day, we talked about it that Friday or something. I don't remember, but so it was a pretty horrific attack, and Japan had bombed our naval ships. So thousands of people died, just bombs coming from airplanes and all of that. So after that, we were now in the war because we were not very happy with Japan. About 250,000 Mississippi men and women served in the war. People moved to cities to work in factories and at military bases. Many of the new factory workers were women. Camp Shelby trained soldiers, and Keesler Field, which is now Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, trained pilots. Workers at Ingalls Shipyard in Pascagoula made ships. In May 1945, Germany was defeated. 3 months later, Japan surrendered, ending World War II. Okay, So to wrap all that craziness up, we fought in World War One. Lots of people from Mississippi. Then Mississippi was hit by the Great Mississippi Flood in 1927. Then the Great Depression happened, and then World War II. So that's some pretty crazy stuff in a pretty short amount of time. So you can imagine that there was quite a struggle at that time. All right, so I am going to post a choice of assignments for this week. So I'll let you choose between two choices. So just look in classwork for those options. All right, I'll see you soon at our meeting. Bye.